welcome to Moral High Ground, where I talk about what's morally right. Today I'm going to be talking about camping bans. Now, camping bans was around for a minute. We got a new mayor, so he eliminated the camping ban and put a new one. This was about to be talked about in this video. But the old camping ban was that people can put tents down at 10 o'clock at night. By about 8 o'clock in the morning, they have to pull the tent up and they got to move. And they're having cops running around waking people up, making them take the tents, move. Some people would put tents in places where the cops would not go, and they would able to stay there for a while until the cops find it. Then they tell them to take it up and move. And then there would be problems with trying to stop them from going back to that place. And there would be so many things. So the new mayor stopped all that. And, now he's got his 1,500 shelters. He's trying to make night shelters, whatever crap it is. And now he wants to put the ban back for whatever reason. So here we go with this video. This is stupid. This never should have got rid of the ban to begin with. Okay, so here we go. This is the mayor, the new mayor. And he's got his whole I'm looking cool, his nose and stuff. I could actually draw him. I don't know if that's some kind of insult or not, but it looks like I could draw him, right? I could actually draw him if I stayed this photo and I had my art pad in front of me. But anyway, this guy wants to bring the camping ban back. So let's just get into it here what the new Portland mayor says about the camping ban against the homeless.
Okay, so this week, Mayor Keith Wilson announced that starting November 1st, the city might begin enforcing its camping ban again. The mayor says the city can do this because it now has consistent available shelter capacity. The city started enforcing the camping ban last July. People camping on public property who repeatedly refused the offer of available shelter faced citations, a fine of up to $100, and potentially up to a week in jail. Now, Oregon law allows cities to enforce camping bans like this only if it is, quote, objectively reasonable and there is available shelter.
So, here's the thing. That's wood from a pallet, just so you guys know. They just tore it up for some reason. Maybe to make a fire, who knows. So here's a couple things. So with the ban too, if they refuse to move, then they go to jail. That's the bad thing. So it's like, okay, now we're arresting homeless people and putting them in jail. So that's why the ban was critical for homeless people to keep staying on the move. And there was a video last year where they talked to some homeless people and they said, I'm tired, I get up and move, and this and that. Every day you're tired because you're steady moving, but all of them refuse to go to shelters, even though there was shelters around. The reason why they refuse to go to shelters is because of the fact they can't be on drugs in a normal shelter. And this is why these new shelters that they're making, where they're saying you can be on drugs. You can be on drugs instead because they want to make it so that people actually get off the streets. The old shelters that are still around, they don't want you doing drugs. They want you to try to look for housing. They want to prove that you're actually going places. So they have you signing some kind of sheet saying, having people sign, say, hey, he's been here to this place and yada yada. And they constantly want you to talk to counselors to help you get housing. There's also counselors and people speakers that will come in and help you with bank accounts, all kinds of things. It's actually very beneficial if a person takes these resources and uses them. But there's a lot of them that just goes in there and say, hey, I got 3 months to be in this shelter, I'm going to use it up. I'm going to stay here, take showers, I'm going to watch the TV, I'm going to do whatever. The problem is you have to wait for people to come in and feed these people because there's food boxes, but they're not offering it to everybody all the time. So that's the big problem with the shelter too. Plus they got to get up and clean every morning. So like at 8 o'clock or 7, something like that, they got to get up and clean in these shelters. Homeless people don't like to clean. Look at what we're looking at right now. You know what I'm saying? So they don't want to do this stuff. And so that's why they don't go to these shelters. And so now they're making the shelters a little bit more reasonable by saying, hey, you can do drugs in these shelters now. So come on, or you can be high on drugs and be in the shelters. Whichever, it's not good, it's not good for people.
Last year, when enforcement began, city outreach workers were sent to problematic campsites first. A city spokesperson tells me since July 2024, there have been 9 arrests. But back in February, the mayor quietly stopped enforcing the ban as he tried to open more shelters and day centers. In a statement this week, Mayor Wilson said in part, "We cannot arrest our way out of homelessness, nor should we. We must, however, return to enforcing our existing codes on open drug use, illegal dumping, blocked right-of-way, fire, and other sanitation and quality of life issues. Individuals who engage in unlawful behavior will be subject to citation. These citations will involve warrant checks."
So, before I get into whatever this woman is about to say, or man, she looks quite mannish. No, but so there's 9 people arrested, she said. Let's get on that point for a minute. Now, with this homeless people situation, I've been pondering some other issues that may be not talked about, covered up, or whatever. But there's a large abundance of homeless women too, and I believe a lot of them might be taken advantage of in a situation with this housing ban or tent ban or whatever it's called, camping ban. I believe a lot of women might be taking advantage of it, saying, okay, if you don't want to go to jail, maybe you come with me and do whatever favor and I'll let you go, type of thing. It will happen. There's a lot of crooked cops. Don't trust the police in 1 minute that they wouldn't take advantage of some of the homeless women out there, prostitutes and so forth, because it does happen. And so there's no way in hell that they only had 9 arrests. I believe there were people doing things illegally to stop themselves from going to jail. And that's just my opinion, and maybe I'm wrong. And yes, I'm not speaking, stuff that I know, but it has to be fact. There has to be some kind of fact that that's happening. Trust me. I've been pulled over one time, and I remember this cop saying, "If I let you go, what are you gonna do for me? What the hell are you talking about, you asshole? I ain't doing shit." He's like, "I don't even want to get into that memory." And it was so stupid. And then his cop buddies come, his whole attitude changed, and I've called it out in front of him. Let me stop going off about it. Something in the past. But anyway. At that point, I forget how many ticket violations I had and traffic violations. I had a lot at one point. But anyway, so that's the one thing, is that the arrest thing, I believe, is some bullshit. Some undercover, under the bridge, whatever the hell you want to call it, secretive nonsense happening to act like they're not really arresting them. There's just something ain't right there. This is not right. Because I've seen people who are just staying and not leaving tent areas when this ban was active. Okay, now the mayor's talking about bringing it in and we're trying to stop this and that and so forth. Here's the thing. The camping ban was put there because, like I said, the shelters have all these rules. They need people to go to the shelters. So if there's shelters available, you shouldn't be on the street. That's what it's all about. If there's shelters available, you need to go to a shelter and try to stay there. Okay, but if you have a night shelter and you gotta leave them during the day, then your ban doesn't make any sense, because now even you have a night shelter, where are you gonna go through during the day? Back to the streets. So this is why I say even the day shelter's stupid, because there's no cover over the day shelter. There's none of that makes any sense. But either way, these people are gonna be back on the streets unless you find something that's a 24-hour shelter. That's why I mentioned this one property a couple videos ago, where I mentioned that they can make it a 24-hour shelter. They can take the abandoned businesses and stuff, make them state or city-owned businesses, shelters and stuff, and have it 24 hours. That way, it can avoid the third-party places like Urban Alchemy or the Salvation Army, which only have a small, limited time for these people to be in these shelter-type places, and make it a 24-hour place because, hey, the city is saying this is our shelter type of thing. We run it our way. Bam, there you go. Okay. But once again, because these homeless people have a choice to go to these shelters or not, then they're subject to be underneath this camping ban. So then my solution is make being in a shelter a priority. It's a priority if you're homeless to be in a shelter. Okay? Plain and simple. No, if this is many beds and all that stupid shit. They got a rule, it's like, I forget the last time it was, if there's 900 beds and there's like something like 100 that are not occupied, you gotta be the shelter to occupied 100 or something. I forget how it went. It was last year. So either way, they just need to go to these places and make it mandatory that they have to be in a shelter if they're homeless. And if you're making 5 or 1,500, I should say, homeless places that the mayor's supposed to be making, then obviously it should be just a priority for them to go to a shelter and not bring back the camping ban. But the camping ban is going to be irrelevant if you still have a drug place where they're getting high. And if the shelter is a place where you're getting high, there's going to be a lot of chaos. And that's just my opinion.
I think it's very welcome, and it's also long overdue. I think that he needs to act more boldly and more decisively. More boldly.
That's Linda Witt, the head of the Shelter Livability Committee in the Pearl District Association.
And I applaud him for moving in this direction. We all wish it had happened sooner because we've seen the problem kind of accelerate over the past few months, and especially since the shelter's been installed.
So, dang it, commercial. Hold on,
Nobody wants a stained, dirty toilet.
Ugh.
But many cleaning products have chemicals that are harmful to the environment.
So now this image you're seeing is the shelter. They just opened the night shelter that is ran by the Salvation Army in the Pearl District, Northrum Pearl District area.
Now she's talking about the Northrop Street shelter. It opened earlier this month in the Pearl. It was met with major neighborhood pushback, people arguing that it's unsafe to put a low barrier shelter in a residential area and that it will attract more street camping. So far, Linda, who tracks neighborhood concerns, says the area surrounding the shelter is not looking great.
It's an amazing number of people that are trespassing on our properties, sleeping out in public, being in various forms of undress. These are all tragic human situations, but they're taking their toll on the people in this neighborhood and on the businesses. On 3 hours on Sunday, I documented about 20 such cases, just walking around a 5-block area of the Pearl. I think that my inbox now has about 308 email messages concerning issues of this type.
So here we got this shelter that was put just 3 weeks ago. It has to be 3 weeks because it's almost October. And it was just a big thing. I covered it right when they made it, type of thing, or watched the video. But now we're saying this shelter within 3 weeks has got to the point where there's nudity, drug use, all kinds of stuff. She named it all. You heard it. You rewind it because I'm not gonna remember every damn thing. But I'm gonna tell you, it just proves my point that you can't just have a night shelter during the day. Where are they going? To the streets. This proves my point. They're going straight to the streets. It's not a 24-hour shelter. And the one thing that makes it bad, no matter if you have a shelter or not, is we can't smoke cigarettes. And you know, people that smoke cigarettes want to go outside because they have to. The law says you have to go outside. So you're gonna see these homeless people in this neighborhood. The problem with it is that just by her demeanor, and a lot of people's demeanor like hers in that area of town are quite wealthy or, you know, well endowed. And so they're not used to seeing all these things. So when they see these people, they're like, whoa, wait a minute, what's happening here? You see what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, you're suffering because, or they're suffering because they chose to accept a way, or the mayor chose to accept a way that might be beneficial for the homeless people. It's just a spot that was like not by children, a spot that was by resources and things, and the resources have to be within the neighborhood around the wealthy. So these people don't like this, they don't accept it, they're mad. Look at this, look like you're gonna cry, you know, it's so bad. But it's all because you decided to make a shelter where people have open drug use. At the same time, a shelter that is only open 8 hours during the time period of the day. It's not good for anybody.
Mayor Wilson added that this week, By December 1st, we will ensure that every Portlander who wants a bed will have one. To deliver on this promise, we are expanding overnight shelter beds, developing day centers and secure storage facilities, and deploying outreach workers trained to connect people to vital treatment resources and reunification services. This week, the city also announced it's spending more than $1 million to expand a Northeast Portland homeless day center. Now today,
$1 million they want to use to open a day center. $1 million just so people can hang out during the day. I don't understand the mayor's logic in this night shelter, day shelter thing. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It just seems like you're playing with these people's lives. You're not making it safe for them. And I don't think that should be stand. I don't think it should even be a thing that should happen. I think it should be a 24-hour place or no place at all. Let's just be real. You know what I mean? People you want them to be off the shelter, not constantly moving around. This isn't like a maze, some stupid track game, some kind of game where humans got to steady move and you win a prize at the end. These are the people's lives they're messing with. So they need a shelter that can actually keep them around all day. This is miserable stuff, man.
also caught up with those at the Union Gospel Mission. Here's what they had to say about the potential return of enforcement of the camping ban.
We are hopeful that this can be good for those who are experiencing homelessness, that hopefully they can get holistic care, not just get kicked off the street.
That's Courtney Dodds. She tells me she's not sold that penalizing someone is the way to address this crisis.
I'm not sure that it always is very effective. I think the idea of having some incentive to get care, to get recovery, to get housing is good. I'm not sure about the citation part, honestly.
So this is what they do. I mean, everything's, I can talk about what they said a little bit. This woman having a concern, with the shelter she's got, the Gospel Mission. They actually help a lot of homeless people, and they've been doing it for many decades. The problem is that they have IDs for their people. They don't question if the name is actually right, and that's something that's wrong. And I talked to an officer about it because a homeless person attacked somebody with a hammer. Big story. I'm not going to get into it. I don't even think I can. And anyway, so the person had left the ID card from the Gospel Mission. And I handed it to him, and he says, this isn't the right name, and the name was something else. And another guy was like, oh no, this is his name. I'm talking to the law enforcement saying this guy is faking who his identity is. And he's saying that they don't ask you for Social Security, they don't ask you for your birth certificate or anything, ID. They just want a name to go with the person that's going to be in the bed that's staying in that place. And so that's an old shelter that's still around. But that old shelter has the rules of, like I'm saying, that they have no drug use in that shelter. So for the ones that they're making now that has drug use, open drug use and stuff, it's just like, it's insane. But this is what the cops do when they're walking around and they go and they take down homeless tents and stuff. They walk in a force like this. So when they walk down the street, you're gonna go, okay, they're about to move some homeless people. And they go up and they'll knock at a tent, or they'll start pulling the top of it or something, whatever it is to get these people up and say, hey, you gotta move. And then some people will fight with them, some people will say stupid stuff. And the boldness and childlike ignorance of the homeless people who, as soon as you're telling them rules and stuff, they want to sit there and try to play these dumbass games that you see in videos when it comes to dealing with people that's woke. They sit there and be like, oh, I have the right. You don't have the right if the law is saying you gotta move. You don't have the right to do something. It's the same thing if you're a security guard and on a private property and the person's sitting there going, oh, you can't tell me. Yes, I can. This is private property. You don't belong here. And it is a childish behavior that you get. It's just so annoying and irritating. It just makes you want to choke the hell out of somebody. There's no way grown-up people should act like victims when they're not. Okay, it's like the story of Crying Wolf, the boy Crying Wolf, or back in the day I used to say it in the hood, they selling wolf tickets. Okay, the plain and simple thing about it is, why have this type of personality where he thinks things are owed to you, and that your shit don't stink, and that you're a victim because someone's trying to tell you to do the right thing. I'm so sick of that behavior, that attitude, that personality. It's so toxic, it's nasty, it's just sickening to see a grown person act like a child that can't get a damn cookie. Okay? It's stupid. And so this is another reason why things need to get better. And I mean, it's all the crap that comes with being involved in places that's democratic. Is that they created this whole victim mentality. All these little groups that surround themselves and connecting with the Democratic Party is all ridiculous, because it's always a victim thing. You're not a victim, and it's funny how you be a victim and then you're going up to people and you're harassing the hell out of them, accusing them of stuff, and all they're trying to do is get the hell away from you. But you're the victim, right? If someone's trying to get away from something, that makes them the attacker, the aggressor, or the predator. And I'm not talking about the one from outer space, but I'm just saying it's stupid behavior. But that's what happens. So that's why the police have to be there, because some of them will lash out and fight. Even the ones that say that they're victims will get in someone say, "Oh, I don't have to do anything you say." Oh, wow. Come on, man. You know, especially for a dude to do that shit. Come on, man. Like, I can't understand it. You know. But anyway.
Now, we reached out to Portland Police to ask about their role in all of this, and they referred us back to the mayor's office. However, we do know the camping ban requires police to coordinate with the city's Street Services Coordination Center before citing or arresting anyone. So basically, the city outreach workers have the say of whether police will show up to a camp or not.
It's a tough balance. There is a place for public safety, for not having open air drug use, for having clean sidewalks for everyone who's living there. It seems like there is a place for some enforcement there, but also for the people in those situations, what they really need is medical care, health care, recovery, mental health, especially the mental health. It really seems like we need support for mental health care. And so I think what we would like to see is that those people get into a situation where they're getting wraparound services and holistic recovery. And I'm not sure that a citation or in jail is the place where that's going to happen.
So everything she's saying is 100% right. We need everything she's talking about, but we need it in a way where we know it's not being taken advantage of by the people that's offering it to homeless people. Okay, that's the other problem. Is all these people who are taking advantage of the situation by taking things from these agencies just to put money in their own pocket. That's my opinion.
One of the great challenges in this world is knowing enough about a subject to think you're right, but not enough about.
Okay.
Okay, so joining me now live in studio is Rob Lane, a senior communications strategist for the city shelter.
Maybe I'll pause it a bit because I gotta cut that. All right, here we go.
Going to happen.
Okay, so joining me now live in studio is Rob Lane, a senior communications strategist for the city shelter services team. Mr. Lane, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so let's start with these overnight shelter beds the mayor is opening. We know his goal is 1,500 by December 1st. So talk to us. What's the latest on that? How many beds are left to open?
Right. We just opened the Northwest Northrop shelter along with two other shelters in St. Stephen's, which is in downtown, as well as the Central Church of Nazarene. All told, there's about 630 beds that we have developed over the last year since January 2nd. Right now, we're about halfway to our goal, and as of December 1st, we're still aiming for 1,500 beds. What has always been part of this plan is that as we move towards wintertime, we know that utilization rates are kind of low during the summer due to temperature, weather's nice, so folks don't feel like they have to go to shelter. But as we get to winter, there's no place for people to go. When we hit December 1st, we should have enough beds in place and available for every Portlander that would like to sleep in a safe place at night.
So do you think we're going to meet that 1,500 number by December 1st? Where's the next shelter going to open?
I'm sure of it. Well, we're looking at a bunch of different sites that are on our radar, and we're finalizing contracts with a couple of places that we're going to announce pretty soon.
Okay, you can't tell me here.
Not right now.
Okay. We've heard time and time again.
Okay, so I mean this video is actually kind of long. I don't want to get that long into it. I might get back to it. But for now, I'll say I'm done. I can hear his questions. He's pretty much confirming stuff for the mayor, making the mayor look good. It's just a load of crock. And, you know, what the woman said a minute ago, 100% right. The other woman I work for a gospel mission. But none of this is good stuff. So what we just saw was about the camping ban. And, yeah, I believe that the camping ban is a thing that's complex. I'm not going to say it's good. I'm going to say it's a complex issue, and an issue where you criminalize people for being homeless. At the same time, I'll say the stuff with the shelters needs to be figured out to where they're all the same. Not having ones that are been around forever that say no drug use at all, or no people come in high, instead of ones that say, oh, we're going to let you do it. You know, it doesn't make any sense. This is like, how will these people be able to determine, especially if you're a homeless person that came from out of state, and you come in and you got one that says, oh, it's okay for you to be high in the shelter, and another one that tells you you can't. So they need to make it all the same. That's one thing. Another one, I don't know about the going to jail thing, but the citation might be all right, but it's not good either, because I talked about something that happened in was it Grants Pass last year, where they were giving out citations, and the only place they were living in the park, which is so crazy because there's forest land, there's like valleys of open space, and they decided to stay in the city because of natural, you know, not about to say natural resources, but the resources that are there, which are pretty much supermarkets and things like that. Again, I said in a couple other videos that our culture has lost the ability to, this is not our culture, because a lot of people do know how to hunt, fish and things. A lot of them are just lazy, don't want to do it. A lot of them have to have licenses and stuff to do these things. At the same time, a lot of people don't know how to stand their own food or pluck a chicken, you know, whatever the hell it is, okay? And so they can't live on the land, but because they're homeless, they rather have, you know, how do you say, food that's already prepped for them, already cooked, boxed goods and stuff. You know, dollar stores are #1 place that should be making a profit off of homeless people like crazy. But yeah, anyway, I don't know. But I just think this issue is a little, I guess it depends on the person, how they feel about it. So leave a comment and let me know what you think. I'll probably finish the rest of the video later. But until then, peace out. Have a great day. Yep.